Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's a Wednesday edition. And that means we have JC going to be joining us here via the Titan MR hotline. He's on some remote location somewhere in the United States. And then the second portion of the day, we continue our flashback to Gator quarterbacks. We'll have Rex Grossman interview from, I think, last year. But in the meantime, we're going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by Corn Dog. Good morning, JC. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. Everything's great up here in north central Michigan. It was 73 degrees yesterday. 73 is what I played golf. Beautiful place up here, very sparsely populated, however. And today we'll be heading out over to Lake Michigan area, the northern Lake Michigan, Arcadia Bluff will be the place of the venue today, QB. And but don't worry, I'm keeping up with what's going on. I had those Milwaukee Bucks last night. Picked them. They won. And Giannis, first player since Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon to get MVP of the series, MVP of the season, and Defensive Player of the Year. All three awards. He won it by himself. He just took over the series, and Phoenix had no answer.
Yeah, he's a very good player. If you missed it, Milwaukee Bucks are your NBA world champions. They defeated the Suns. They won 4 straight games. The Suns, I think people forgot the Suns were up in that series 2-0. Also last night, JC, did you get to watch any of the Olympic softball? 3 Gators playing?
No, I can't say I watched any of that. I don't think they have that channel up here.
That would be NBC Sports.
Well, no,
they don't get that. They don't get that in Michigan.
Well, they didn't have it on at the establishments that we patronize, nor in the hospitality room we went to. We were watching the basketball. I did see where the women's soccer team got shut out by Sweden, however. That didn't seem to bother me as much as it may bother others for some reason. But, I missed the softball. Yeah,
so they won 2-0 over Italy. Michelle Moultrie had a RBI single, and Aubrey Monroe also had a base hit. Kat Osterman pitches. That girl, she's 30. I think she's like 38 years old, and you still can't hit her. It's crazy. But there's still opportunities that the Olympics may be canceled.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. There's nothing there. And people are back in retraction mode from the Delta variant strain of the coronavirus. So, sure, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. They canceled it last year. I don't think they'll have a Winter Olympics either. So I don't know. I feel bad for the athletes of this generation of dealing with this. They certainly have had a lot taken away from them.
Yeah. JC, third day of SEC Media Day kicks off today. Your squad, Alabama, kicks it off, then Vandy, then Mississippi State, and then Jimbo Fisher and A&M. Yesterday, Lane Kiffin was there. I don't know if you heard up there in Michigan, if word travels, but Nick Saban was at some speaking arrangement, I think somewhere in Texas, and he stated that his quarterback, Bryce Young, has already made over $1 million with the NIL.
Yeah.
And somebody said that I was watching part of Media Day when Lane was speaking late in the afternoon, and a reporter said that to Lane while he was on the podium, and he basically was floored. He was speechless. He goes, "You're trying to tell me a guy who has not started one game is already making more than some coaches in the SEC, and he may, who knows if he's even going to be the starter? He probably is, but Lane made some great points yesterday. He basically said it is pro sports now. They have free agency in college football, but I mean, why in the hell Bryce Young's making over $1 million in name, image, and likeness blows my mind too. The dude ain't done nothing.
No, and what I thought was, even funnier was that Lane said because of that $1 million, maybe he could take the Ole Miss game off.
Right.
So,
yeah.
It's really well, I guess this is the start of something new, right? And it's
I don't see. I mean, think about this. Think about JC. I don't know how many deals he has in place, but let's just say it's one deal. Somebody's paying him right at $1 million. Okay, let's just say it's your company. The dude gets benched after game 2. What the hell you do now?
Right. So again, it comes down to people willing to do that, and so far, I guess he has found one. But I know that's a big story and so forth, but these coaches are trying to keep the focus on the game actually, and what's going to happen on the field. And, I was just reading something yesterday in The Athletic, which was kind of hard to believe, but it's true. And I didn't know that since Florida's won its 2 titles in 2006 and 2008, the Gators haven't won an SEC championship or a national title, or even sniffed a national title in 12 years. And that's what a lot of the focus was being highlighted with Dan Mullen the other day. And, this is a guy who's had plenty of success coaching quarterbacks, and yet he doesn't seem to be signing these 5-star quarterbacks, nor has he really been able to get, or they've had focus on elite offensive linemen, and right now the class of 2022 has none. So I don't know. I think if 8-4 is what you are, then 8-4 is what you are. But
JC,
is higher. Yeah.
Have you not heard me the last 10 years tell you why Florida's recruiting is not up to par with the other top end schools in America?
Well, no, I understand why. I mean, I know the biggest reason to me. There's a couple. One, the Heavener football complex is not ready yet. That will be in about a year. But he can sell that, at least pictures of it, I would.
Well, I know a lot of programs that sit there when you come on your visit and they have, these easels with these pictures sitting on them. Well, look, when you get here in your 3rd year, this is what you're going to be in. And then those kids graduate and they're still looking at the damn picture sitting on the easel. The difference, Florida's doing pretty well from what I've been told recruiting now, because when the kids came on campus this summer, they actually saw that facility being built. They've put a roof on it now. It is sitting right there by the practice field. So if you do sign, you are going to be in that facility. In the past, you haven't.
Well, no, it's true, and I get that. But still, he hasn't landed any 5-star quarterbacks.
Well, he's not going to get any 5-star quarterbacks.
But okay, maybe not. But there has been an emphasis rather on landing some really good offensive linemen. He's gotten any of them in 2022. Now, I know the early signing period is 5 months away, and I get that. But, they just had an IMG offensive tackle signed with Alabama, or pledge, I should say, to Alabama. And then, of course, you always have the others sniffing around the state for elite talent. And that's where Florida needs to get most of their players, in my opinion. The Gators brand resonates nationally, but they can't keep playing 2nd and 3rd fiddle for recruits in their own backyard. And that's
but real quick, where are those recruits in their own backyard going?
Well, they go to Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, LSU.
Okay, that's my point right there. Those 3 teams that you just mentioned all have been in the college football playoff, and they all have state-of-the-art facilities. If Florida keeps winning and now they have the same level playing field, it will change. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I see it. I do. I see that possibly happening, but that won't happen overnight yet. And they're going to get their complex. These other schools already have theirs, and I get it that it could be on the come. There's no doubt about that.
Well, maybe we need to start breaking rules like everybody else.
That was my second point, though, was that, you haven't seen any success on the field. You don't have it off the field with building stuff until now, and now they're trying to catch up. And, yes, they have walls on the football complex, and all the upgrades are coming. But today is today, and selling the vision of that facility is going to help Florida, I guess. And, the position of being a top 10 public university is a good thing. And
that don't matter. That ain't got a damn thing to do about recruiting.
I know, but there are certain kids that do like that kind of thing, believe it or not.
That play football?
Well, I just think that it helps. It helps to have a good school. You don't think so?
No, it sounds good, but when it comes to football, I promise you, ain't no damn kid going there because it's top 10 public university. Nobody.
So, well, okay, that's
It
fine.
sounds good, but it ain't happening.
Well, listen, we know what's been going on here, and that's what Dan is trying to change. That's what he's been asked about over and over again, and that's why we've seen what we've seen over the last 15 or 12 or 15 years. So that's, his job is to swing that around, and that complex will be the first thing that helps that happen. But again, that's not here for another year. Players are coming and going and doing everything now. And so people have, they have an idea of what's coming, but you know how folks are today. It's immediate gratification world. And he's done well since coming here. There's no doubt he's won games, but he hasn't won the SEC, and he's still got to deal with Georgia. That's the only thing I think he's got to deal with in the East. And then
a lot of people are still picking Kentucky to be ahead of Florida in the SEC. I saw it yesterday. People like all those guys on the SEC network. So we shall see.
Are?
Yeah. So
Chris
JC Doring, I haven't seen his picks yet. Real quick, JC. We got to get to our Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. It's time for the JC and the QB golf picks. They're at the 3M Open, which I believe is up in Minnesota this week. I'm going to go first. I'm going to take Ricky Fowler. I think Ricky Fowler's going to play well this week.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's honest, at least. I'm going to go with Dustin Johnson. I think he's
let's take the #1 player in the world. Okay.
Well, he might be the #1 player in the world, but he's been kind of a ghost when it comes to big deals this year. The Masters, the British, the U.S. Open. I don't know. Where's he been? I think he's got to turn it around. There's still time to do it this year. Give me him.
I want to go with Gary Woodland.
The 3M Open. This is kind of funny. You know how these tournaments are after a major. They have a lot of players that didn't travel playing them, so you have to be a little bit careful who you're picking here, because there's a lot of guys that. I mean, this could be one of those where Greg Chalmers wins his first tournament, or Pat
pick
Perez
somebody.
I'm trying. Hold on. Let's see here. I'm looking at. Give me. Jeez, boy, it's really thin pickings here, in my opinion. I'll take Charles Schwartzel.
All right, Charles Schwartzel, South African. My last pick will be Tony Finau.
Yeah, he played well last week, but his problem. I'm going to take. I'll end it off with. Oh boy, look at this field. Jeez, it looks like the group you play with on Friday. In some cases here,
all really good players.
Yeah, they're on tour. That's true. I agree with that. Give me. Here's a shocker. Give me Patrick Reed.
Oh yeah, that is a shocker. You love you some Patrick Reed.
Well, a good short game player.
Yeah. Back to a couple Facebook Lives here. Rick says the NIL will change UF recruiting when JC gets his company to pay some big bucks. It's interesting. I saw where the University of North Carolina has done a deal for all athletes, every sport, former and current, where guys can make money off their jersey sales and all that kind of stuff. So they're the first school to do that, North Carolina.
Right. No, it's going to be interesting to see how everybody handles this and whether they'll all be the same or slightly different. I don't know. I mean, SEC Media Days, I just didn't hear a lot about, outside of that Bryce Young news, they're trying, I think, not to talk as much about that. They want to try to keep it as football-y as possible, I think. But, I was just interested in what Dan Mullen had to say yesterday. And I think, remember, what he views recruits and how 24/7 or rival sports or whatever it is view recruits could be very different. I mean, it's not like anybody asked Dan Mullen who his 5-star guys are. They'll just try to get who they get. And what Florida wants and what the recruiting services say could be different in many ways. But they've got to start getting some of these 5-star guys out of
Well,
Florida.
JC, again,
they've got to.
it blows my mind when people get upset and blame the coaches, because it comes down to where the 17, 18-year-old kid wants to play football. It ain't got a whole lot to do with coaching. It's where they can play, compete for a championship, and the best way to get to the National Football League. That's the three main reasons.
The job is to sell that. It's a sell.
Okay. So let me ask you this, JC. If you come out as a high school kid and you go visit Mississippi State and they sit here and give you the best sales job you've ever seen, and then you drive about 45 minutes to Tuscaloosa and you just see what they've done, you don't give a damn what Mike Leach and them just sold you. You're going to go play where the better players are.
Maybe not. But here's the thing. Remember, the great Jeremy Foley, 13, 14 years ago said, hey, it's Florida, man. It sells itself. So, that was his quote. Now, I know it's different today, and I think he probably would look back and say maybe I overspoke about the weather of Florida. But regardless, it is a sales job, and you have to sell.
But they sell. Trust me, they sell. But again, it comes down to a kid making a decision.
But coaches have to, right, and name, image, and likeness now is going to be part of that sales toolkit. And so I don't know how you do that.
You can't. There's no way. There's no way.
But it's part of it now. You know it is. And
right, but coaches cannot be involved in that. They hate it, and they cannot be involved in it.
Right, but when you're talking to a kid, you have to give them everything that you can.
And you don't think the Florida staff does that?
I think it does, but I think it does matter where you are, what your climate is. All these other things do kind of matter. I don't know a whole lot of kids that choose to go to Michigan from South Florida, maybe one or two. But I'm just saying that. Yeah,
but you got to remember, you can only sign 25 kids. There's 1 million kids in the state of Florida that play college football that go elsewhere.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. So anyway, JC, hit them straight. We got to get to Rex Grossman. Enjoy your trip in Michigan. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Okay. See you there.
That's JC joining us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to take our first time out of the program, come back, joined by Rex Grossman will join the program here. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. South State Bank, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Silverback Concrete Company. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Now we're going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by Gator Great, number 8, Rex Grossman. Good morning, Rex. How are you, my man?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing great. We appreciate you taking the time. Hope you and your family are staying safe down in South Florida. Rex, I want to go back to your days growing up in Indiana. Obviously, you were a tremendous high school player there. Did you play other sports other than football growing up?
Yeah, growing up, I played football, basketball, and baseball. I mean, the standard sports. And I was a huge, basketball fan growing up. I lived about, 5 minutes from campus at Indiana University, and, followed Bob Knight, and that whole era was right in my wheelhouse. I was born in 1980. So that whole basketball scene was kind of what I was all about. But I grew up in a football family. So every Sunday we would throw the football at halftime of the NFL games, and, just loved baseball, basketball, and football. So.
Yeah, you were the player of the year there in the state of Indiana, won a state championship. I would like you to tell the story because, I don't think Florida was actually recruiting you. I think there's a story that you were going down with your family somewhere in the state of Florida for a summer vacation or something, and y'all stopped by Gainesville and you dropped off your high school tapes. This was before nowadays you can just on Twitter send high school tapes. Just tell that story real quick.
Well, I kind of, I had a really good junior year, and ended up being player of the year in the state of Indiana as a junior. And I kind of wanted to get everything out of the way before my senior year as far as where I was going to go. I didn't want the distraction or any of that. So I was not getting recruited very heavily by Florida State or Miami, really, but I was getting the standard letters. I was getting recruited pretty heavily by Penn State and, Purdue and IU and places like that. But, I wanted to play big time college football, and, in the warm weather that threw the ball a lot. And so obviously I wanted to play, for the Gators. That would be my ultimate dream. So I went down on spring break of my junior year, and they kept telling me, we don't really recruit Indiana, but you can come on down for an unofficial visit if you want. Kind of like, don't waste your time, but I mean, if you're down here, come on in. So basically that's what we did. And we told them we were coming, on a random Tuesday around noon. And, there's a secretary, Betty, I can't get her name. That's right. Yeah. So she was my host for the day. Just kind of saw us when we came in that morning and just started to give us a tour of the weight room. And this is where the coaches meet. And she's like, you're probably not going to be able to see any coaches today. So I was kind of bummed out. And the hallways in the coaches' offices were, really skinny and kind of turned a little bit. And you could hear Coach Spurrier just kind of, hey, what's going on, everybody? Just from down the hall. And she looked at us like, you're going to be able to meet Coach. He's not playing golf today. So I was kind of nervous. He was kind of a legend at that point already. So he comes walking around the corner and kind of introduces himself and kind of pats us on the back and kind of keeps walking. I said, hey, Coach, can I show you my highlight tape before you leave? Because I had it with me. So he was like, kind of scratched his head like he didn't really want to, but like, all right, yeah, throw it on. Let's go. Come on, Hatchie, throw his tape on. So puts the tape on and watches it for about 20 minutes. And that 20-minute highlight, as soon as that was over, he was like, you know what? I'm going to throw my highlight tape on. So he threw his highlight tape on, and then he threw highlights of you and Danny playing and explaining how he would get wide receivers open with route combinations and his philosophy of offense. And that turned into a 3-hour lunch, which turned into 2 weeks later after I get home, a written offer. And it took me about 5 minutes to call and say yes. So that's kind of how it happened. I mean, spring break, randomly in my junior year, going on a unofficial recruiting trip, basically kind of recruiting myself, or at least making it happen, forcing the issue, is how, really I got my dream signing. Because, I mean, there's no better place, especially at that time, late 90s, than being a recruit at the University of Florida to play quarterback, because of what you and Danny really kind of set the table. So
yeah, that's a great story. That is a wonderful story. Yeah. So Rex, you get to the University of Florida, and I'll never forget. It was the off season. I was at a spring practice. Y'all were going to have a scrimmage in the swamp, and I had talked to Coach, coming back from the off season, and he's like, "Yeah, I got some good young quarterbacks. I don't know who's going to be the starter." come out and watch the scrimmage. So I sat in the south end zone where I could kind of see, like I was sitting in the pocket in the shade underneath, and I didn't really know who anyone was. I'd heard of Brock Berlin because I think he was like the player of the year in the country or something like that. And after that scrimmage, I said, Coach, I don't know who number 8 is there, but he just has that it factor. Just watching him in the pocket, his anticipation. So I'll never forget that scrimmage. And it's between you and Brock Berlin, and maybe Jesse was still there. I'm not sure. But talk a little bit about your career. I mean, you had a phenomenal 3 years here at Florida, especially your first 2. Just talk a little bit about what game stands out the most in your mind.
Well, like I said, I didn't feel underappreciated, but I definitely didn't feel like I was, the guy ever. And I got there early. I redshirted a full year and was able to practice against on the scout team, and they were live against us. And that year I was able to really develop having to anticipate some throws and going up against big time college football defenses. So that year and a half really was invaluable for me. But my redshirt freshman year, the moment that sticks out to me the most is I was third string, and Brock Berlin was moved ahead of me one day, and this was about 5 games in, and Jesse sprains his ankle. Brock Berlin can't get the signals from the sidelines, and Coach Spurrier kind of looks at me like, "Get in there," and we ended up losing the game, but I went like 14 for 16, 2 touchdowns, and I don't know how many yards, but I never left the field since then. So as a starter, at least, I got yanked a couple times, but for the most part, that was it. And, it's just about taking advantage of your opportunities. So.
No doubt about it. Let's go to your sophomore year, which was a phenomenal year. Y'all were really good on offense. You should have won the Heisman Trophy. There's no question about it. But just talk about that team. So many Gator fans talk about the 96, the 96, the 06, and 08, the national championship teams. But, just talking to Coach Spurrier the past few years now that he's retired, he's been reminiscing a lot. He really thinks that his last team that you were the quarterback with Riche, Jabbar Gaffney, and Taylor Jacobs, that was as talented a team as he had. And unfortunately, y'all had to have that game rescheduled against Tennessee that pretty much kept you out of playing for the SEC and the national title. Talk about that year and that team.
Yeah, that team had been building for a while. We had an unbelievable wide receiving core with Riche and Taylor and Jabbar. Jabbar was unbelievable. He just had a knack of being able to separate, and was so damn good. And our defense was really good. And at that point, I felt super confident and comfortable with Coach's scheme, and everything was kind of just ripe and ready for a great year. There was no weakness on our team at all. And we got off to a great start and just went 6-0, boom, boom, boom. I think we were ranked number 1. And then we got beat at Auburn on a Saturday night game. It's one of those trip up games, but we were able to rebound. And like I said, we lost a crucial game right at the end of the year, right before the SEC championship against Tennessee. And, that was it. I look back at that year with such pride, but also disappointment at the same time, because I knew we were, if not the best team in the country, right there with them. So we should have at least won the SEC and could have got a chance to win that national championship along with the Heisman Trophy. So, it was a phenomenal year, but a little disappointing at the same time because we were so damn good.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 244-0840. We're speaking with Rex Grossman on the Titan MR hotline. Rex, the one game that stands out to me, and I can't remember what city I was in. I was playing with a million teams, but it had been your sophomore year. It was in Baton Rouge, Tiger Stadium. The throws you made in that game, you threw for about 400 and something yards, right? Talk about that game. That was a ridiculous game on your part.
Yeah, I mean, whenever as you know, you're playing for Coach Spurrier and the Gators, and you walk into the stadium and everybody hates you, and that kind of fuels you that they're all fired up. You go in on the bus and they're flicking you off, and it was just something about that energy that I think our whole team just got off to a good start, and the momentum just never stopped. Our defense was getting interceptions. I think Todd Johnson had a couple picks, and we were just rolling. And, Coach Spurrier allows you to change the play calls. And I was just, getting out of bad plays and getting into good plays, and they were working and they were blitzing, and we were getting the ball off and hitting people in stride. And it was just one of those games where, you were in the zone. Everybody on our team was in the zone, and I think we shut them down pretty quickly. It was over by middle of the third quarter, but I'll always remember that game. It's probably the best game I ever played in my life. So, you'll always remember those. So it was out on the road in Baton Rouge. I mean, doesn't get any better playing for the Gators and going and stomping somebody on a Saturday afternoon. So
no doubt about
it. Just great memories.
So after your tremendous sophomore year, I mean, there was disappointment, as you mentioned, because that team had a chance to do it all. And then y'all win the Orange Bowl. And then you get word that Coach Spurrier is going to try the National Football League. As a player on that team, being a quarterback, what went through your mind?
Well, I kind of instantly was in shock. I felt like, just blindsided by the news. But, after you digested that and tried to figure out, I had a good enough year to probably be drafted near the end of the first round, second round, something like that. That's kind of where they were projecting me. And I was debating a little bit, and I decided to come back and really a lot of players left on our team that were really good that year, but Coach Zook came in and we did the best we could. We weren't as talented, but we didn't have as good a year as we had the prior year, but it was still an amazing year that I'll never forget.
Yeah, not your senior year, but your junior, as you mentioned, year one under Ron Zook. I want to say, was Zombrecker the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, that's right. It was a big adjustment. Coach Zombrecker came from Marshall, and they had, didn't have the leeway that I had under Coach Spurrier to change the plays. And I was, had a lot of success the prior year, so I was a little stubborn as well. It was just kind of a awkward transition, but we still led the SEC in offense and did some good things, but we just weren't as good. I wasn't as good. It just wasn't my best year there, but it was still fine. But there's only one Coach Spurrier, and it just didn't fit as good.
Right. So you get drafted in the first round by the Chicago Bears, one of my old teams.
Right.
Your career with the Bears was, I don't want to say up and down, but you were injured quite a bit up there. But you got to play in a dang Super Bowl, man. Just talk about your days with the Bears, because you spent most of your career there. You were starter for a while, then they put you on the bench, and trust me, I know how all that works, especially in that town. They will boo the hell out of you in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Right.
Just talk about how you enjoyed playing in Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago was awesome. The city was amazing. The tradition of the team was really cool. There was 5 or 6 Gator players that my teammates were on the Bears with me. The teammates on that team were really fun and, motivated, and it was just a good group of guys. And we had a super talented defense, and we had our moments on offense, and we were pretty damn good at times. At times we struggled. So that was kind of the lightning rod topic is, what good Rex or bad Rex going to show up. But, it was really, a good offense or bad offense. Sometimes we would hit stride, and sometimes we would just felt like nothing could work. But being able to play in Chicago for 6 years was a dream come true. I mean, to get paid to play football, it doesn't get any better than that. It is such a cool city, and to have success for 1 year where we were, 15-4 with our record throughout the playoffs, and to be able to experience some of the things that I was able to experience, it didn't work out perfect, but I really have no regrets. I tore my ACL, broke my leg. Things didn't quite work out. Offensively, we weren't we weren't juggernauts or anything, but we had our moments. We had our games where we lit it up, and we were good enough to win a couple of playoff games. And, things fizzled out there after 6 years, and was able to extend my career 5 more years. So all in all, it was, it was a success.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, you got to start as a quarterback for the Bears with all the great tradition in a Super Bowl against Peyton Manning. There's so many guys that play for years in the National Football League. I played 14 years, and we never even sniffed an NFC or AFC championship game. And you got to be a starting quarterback in the Super Bowl. That's something you'll remember the rest of your life.
Yeah, it was really cool. The whole process, every step of the way, the whole journey, was unreal. We were able to win the NFC Championship game in Soldier Field with snow coming down, and locked it up against the Saints, and celebrating the Hallis Trophy with Mrs. McCaskey, his daughter there, and just the whole city lit up and having fun and raising the trophy, and just realizing you're getting ready to play in the Super Bowl was, it was a surreal feeling. And then to take the bus ride to the Super Bowl and go out for warm-ups, knowing you're going to be, starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears in Miami, and the Super Bowl was, a feeling I'll never forget. And we came up short, and it rained on us, but like I said, the journey is what I'll always remember. And it had its ups and downs, as did the Super Bowl game, but those life experiences are invaluable. And it was every bit as cool as I dreamt it would be. And the fact that wish we would have won, but is what it is.
Refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. July is your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. We're speaking with Gator Great Rex Grossman here on the Titan MR Hotline. Rex, I think you went to Houston, then you went to the Washington Redskins. Head coach was Mike Shanahan, his son Kyle Shanahan, who I'd like to hear your thoughts on Kyle Shanahan, because I think he's one of the best play callers in the National Football League right now. How was he when you played for him?
Yeah, he was awesome. My last 5 years in the NFL were with him. He was in Houston as offense coordinator, and when I was there 1 year, and then when his dad got the head job in Washington, he brought me there for that whole span of 4 years. And getting to know him and his offensive scheme, it is by far the best I've had in the NFL. And a lot of it is, pretty damn simple, with a lot of smoke and mirrors. Mm-hmm. But everything looks the same. The stretch running game looks the same with the play action pass. And protections are pretty easy. They pick up 4 week with the back, rapid back to pick up the four guys coming weak. And, you did have some hot throws, but it wasn't very complicated with the protection schemes, which I was used to with Coach Spurrier. So a lot of the mental part of it was taken out of it. So you could play fast. The running game was was well coordinated with the passing game. And, Coach Spurrier still has him maybe in the drop back passing game, but all things considered, and it was a phenomenal system. I was there for when he was building it, and he's taken it and run with it in San Francisco for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Rex, we got a text here on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. It comes from Frank. Frank wants to know, who was your favorite wide receiver when you played for the Gators?
Jabbar Gaffney. I mean, I love Taylor Jacobs and Rashae Caldwell and Carlos Perez, and there's a lot of them, but my redshirt year, Jabbar Gaffney and I both redshirted, and we went up against the scout team, and we kind of developed a rapport of knowing exactly where he was going to be. He was able to separate. We were able to make a lot of plays against the defense, and I think that gave us both confidence. And just that next year, as redshirt freshmen, we were both, having great years and ended up winning the SEC championship. So, and then we played with him with the Redskins in 2011. So, yeah, I mean, he's the one that stands out the most for sure.
Rex, I was going to ask you, because you brought up protection schemes, and that was one thing. When I went in as a rookie in NFL, I thought I was way ahead of most of the quarterbacks in my meeting room, understanding the passing game, how to attack certain coverages. But when it came to protections, I was lost. I didn't know what hots were, that stuff. How long did it take you to not learn that stuff? Because you learn it pretty quickly, but was that a big adjustment for you? And, in the NFL too, most offenses, they call a play and you run that play no matter what. That right. To me was really difficult for me to learn. Is why are we going to try to run a play when we don't think it can work? Did you have issues with that when you first got in the league?
Absolutely. I had issues with a lot of it having to do with not so much knowing exactly who I'm hot off of. It just was all the different types of protection schemes and having to control the offensive line to show them where to go, when all my focus was normally just on safety rotation or what the coverage is going to be. And now I'm focused on things that I was never focused on at the snap. So it took adjustment to get my, to be able to fully focus on, get the protection scheme quickly figured out, and then start focusing on the defense when all you really want to do is play fast. And that's what Coach Spurrier kind of allowed you to do in college was, if they're coming at you, get rid of the ball. Basically that was his protection scheme. So, but it did in college, it did allow you to play fast and allow you to worry about just the coverages. And it's kind of a 7-on-7 mentality, but, or you could check to a 3-step drop if they were all out blitzing or things like that. You could get out of an obvious pressure situation, but going to the NFL, having to identify defensive fronts for the running game, picking out who's you're going to be hot off of and who's going to break their route off, and things that we didn't have to worry about, and it slowed my mental process for first couple of years for sure.
I agree 100% with that. We're speaking with Rex Grossman on the Titan MR hotline, and we got a text from him on the Titan MR text line. Rex, this is Joseph. Joseph wants to know, what was your favorite rivalry game in the SEC?
Favorite rivalry game was, well, Florida State was my favorite rivalry game, but SEC, Florida, Georgia doesn't get any better than Florida, Georgia, but they're all right up in there. Tennessee is probably a team I hate the most, but the most fun game coming over that bridge in the bus and seeing the world's largest cocktail party and realize they're all partying to come watch the game and you're part of the game. You get in there and it feels like, it just feels amazing to see all those Gators fans and, supporting you against half of the Georgia Bulldog fans. And the combination's really cool, and we always won. So that made it even better.
Absolutely. We got a Facebook Live question for you, brought to you by Meldon Law, where you matter most. Todd wants to know, what is Rex up to these days?
I live in Delray Beach, Florida, and my wife and I, we like to travel, hang out. We have a medical staffing business that we staff nurses in hospitals and doctors in hospitals. It's basically an agency for nurses or doctors that want to, be free agents and work on their own accord, pick their own times. We get them 13-week contracts, day-to-day contracts, and ER nurses, all types of nurses. It's called Florida Medical Staffing. So, and I fell into the staffing business about 11 years ago, and we started our own company, and it's doing great, and it provides a pretty cool lifestyle that as long as I've got a laptop, I can pretty much be anywhere I want to be, and allows me to travel the world and hang out with my wife and do a bunch of fun stuff. So down here in South Florida, having fun.
Good deal. Let's see. Well, your last year at Florida was 01, right?
02.
02. Okay, so we have a couple more years, and then you'll be in the Hall of Fame. I know you're in the Florida Georgia Hall of Fame, but I think you got to be out of school for 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, to go.
Yeah, I'm in the Florida Hall of Fame.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I made it.
Well, I knew you were going to make it, but
I'm right there with you.
Okay, so maybe you got to be out of school for 5 years then. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know why.
Yeah.
10 years. Okay.
It was 10 years, because in 2012, I think it was 2012, 2013 is when the induction was.
Oh, that's right. So it's been 20 years now. What am I thinking?
Yeah, it's been a minute. But what a great honor that was. I mean, probably the coolest Hall of Fame ceremony for me. I mean, just for me, reminiscing, being in Hall 95 and being pretty much a nobody from Indiana. Sometimes I couldn't sleep. I'd run up to the stadium and go into the top row of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, now Steve Spurrier Field, and just kind of sit there and dream of scenarios and possibilities. And to be able to have that realized and be in the Florida Gator Hall of Fame was really cool, really special moment.
Yeah, that is awesome. I don't know why I lost track of the years, man. We're getting old. Hey, Rex, last thing for you, man. I know, us quarterbacks, we all have some good Spurrier stories that people like to hear. You got any that you want to tell the Gator Nation?
Oh man, he was just a character. It was something every single day. I wish I'd have wrote it down, but I mean, he wasn't a yeller or screamer get in your face, but man, when you did something wrong, he was like an insult comic. I mean, he would get you to, he would make fun of you and then kind of look at somebody else to laugh with him at you. And, just all those moments, I wish I'd have written down what he said, because he's pretty damn funny. He's one of the funniest people I've ever been around in a lot of ways. But I don't know. He came on a recruiting visit to see me on his one visit where he comes to your hometown, and he gets in around 4 or 5, comes over to the house and starts having a couple Coors, and Monday night football games on, and he ends up just spending the night at the house in the guest room. And I kind of forgot he was there. Woke up the next morning, and he's in the kitchen just eating French toast, going, "Hey, Ricky, how's it going?" And just surreal as a high school student to have the legend Steve Spurrier just kind of hanging out, eating breakfast. And then we went on to my high school, and we ended up actually going over to visit Bobby Knight at the IU basketball practice, and to see the two of them relate was pretty interesting. And Coach Spurrier ended up talking to the IU basketball team, and just kind of seeing those two kind of legends interact was pretty cool. And just the whole time I was there at Florida, I never once wasn't kind of starstruck by Coach Spurrier. He was such a presence and a legend that it was really cool to play for someone like that. So I've got nothing but good things to say about him.
Yeah, I just got another text from Larry. Larry wants to know, Rex, did you get robbed of the Heisman?
Well, we lost right before they voted. So, had we won, I feel like I would have got it. But that Tennessee game was a killer because it took us out of the SEC championship, which, turned a lot of votes. But it was the closest in history up to that point. I know that. So, it is what it is. I'm not going to say I got robbed, but I sure as hell didn't put the nail in the coffin at the end of the year.
Yeah, but you got robbed. We all know that. Last thing for you.
Appreciate it.
I don't know how much you follow Florida now, but we had some lackluster years there. Dan Mullen's come in, and we've had 21 wins in 2 years, 2 major bowl games. Kyle Trask had a tremendous year off the bench. Just talk about what Rex Grossman sees from what Dan Mullen's doing with the Gator football program.
Yeah, well, I think he's definitely brought stability to the program and a level of expectation. And I think it really helped that he was there prior and winning a couple national championships and had people. He knows the SEC recruiting system. He knows seems very confident and sure of himself, which is important as a, head coach or a leader. So he knows his system works, and you can tell that players buy into it, and they've had a lot of success. And Kyle Trask has done a great job. I mean, instantly when he got in there against Kentucky last year, it was obvious that, he belonged there. He threw the ball with anticipation. It was very accurate. The game didn't seem too big for him. So, he's definitely going to have a great year. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
What do you think, real quick, last thing for you, a couple of minutes left in the program, Kyle Trask didn't really play in high school, had to come off the bench. Nowadays kids are transferring so much. Just the job that you saw him do this past year.
Yeah, it was fun to watch him play because of his story, but he also, because he belonged there, it wasn't a one-off or anything. You could tell that he, once he put his back foot in the ground and everything was on time, pretty accurate, and made smart decisions. I mean, it wasn't just an amazing year, but he from not playing as much as he's played to getting in there and looking comfortable. I think that's amazing. It says a lot to his character and his confidence and what he's built throughout actually not having a lot of experience, but he's got some experience now, should have some confidence. And as long as, the team around him is good and they put him in good situations, I feel confident he'll make the right plays and be very successful. So we'll see. I'm excited about it. I think we've got a pretty decent schedule, so we should have, it's going to come down to 1 or 2 games like it always does, but should have a pretty good year.
Yes, we should. So, Rex, we appreciate you taking the time to join the program today, my man. Y'all stay safe down in South Florida, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Shane. And I want to say thank you for starting it off right, because you were the person that started off the Spurrier era, which really kicked it off. And you were always one of the quarterbacks I always looked up to. And so I just want to say I appreciate you setting it off and getting this tradition going. So
I appreciate that. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. South State Bank, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Chomp Harder Apparel, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.